We have a developing 49er story that I'm not really sure 49er fans are going to love to hear, but we are going to share it with you because we want to keep you up to date on all possibilities and ranges of outcomes as we all understand that there is going to be a lot of roster turnover this year and a lot of moving parts. So let's get right into it. Matt Barrows of The Athletic, obviously 49ers insider, um, typically is pretty locked in. He's definitely a guy that isn't about clicks, isn't about any of that stuff. He just tells it like it is. And so when he's asked on KBR about the futures of Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga, this is the part where I think 49er fans aren't going to like to hear. But like I said, I'm going to let you listen directly from him, and then we will react to it on the other side. And I'll actually tell you some things that I've kind of been hearing, especially coming back from the Super Bowl and covering Radio Row. But take a listen to what he said right here.
The chances are better than not that Dre Greenlaw is gone. And the same with Talanoa Hufanga. I mean, I could be wrong, and their markets could be smaller than I think that they'll be, but I think these guys are eager to get out there and at least test that theory.
Wow. So, Matt, let's get into that a little bit more. You don't think that Dre Greenlaw would return? Is it just because of, I guess, their concerns maybe medically with him only playing 1.5 games this season, or they have other priorities where you see like the Philadelphia Eagles, they get 6 sacks on Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Maybe they want to put more money towards the defensive line. But you do believe that Dre Greenlaw may not come back with the 49ers this year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a strong opinion on that. Like I said, I think the chances are greater that he leaves than he comes back. And I think that the fact that he only played a half, essentially, in 2024 actually works to the 49ers' favor because I think that would tamp down the market a bit. But, in my my sense is that Dre Greenlaw wants the opportunity to run his own shop the way that Azeez Al-Shaair did with the Texans this past season. And he's not going to get that with Fred Warner on the roster. I think he loves Fred Warner to death, and they're going to be friends for life. But I think he wants a chance to kind of strike out on his own. And I wonder about the Commanders, whether that, they've got Bobby Wagner there this past season. He's a free agent. If they move on from Bobby Wagner, Adam Peters, a guy that drafted Dre Greenlaw back in 2019, does he come knocking? It would take something like that, someone who knows Dre Greenlaw and can sort of look past the Achilles because you know what this guy is about.
So I think this is where 49er fans are just like really anxious because we all love Dre Greenlaw. He's the heart and soul of that defense. And, just not having him out there was so brutal. And you could see instantly, even if it was just a half, just the impact that he brought to the table. So 49er fans absolutely want him back. And especially with Robert Saleh coming back into the mix, you can guarantee that Robert Saleh's fingerprints were all over the Dre Greenlaw selection back when he was drafted in 2019. So all things considered, I think there is still some optimism by 49er fans that Dre returns because of Robert Saleh. But what Matt Barrows was basically saying is he's basically ready to spread his wings and become the alpha on the defense. He's ready for the green dot. He's ready to be that guy. And he references Azeez Al-Shaair doing that with the Texans. So I can understand that on a personal level. I just don't know, and we've talked about this, I just don't know what he will demand. I don't know if there will be much of a market for him, considering he played basically a half all last year, and that was it, and then he got hurt again. So the way that I've described it was like it would be phenomenal if Robert Saleh and the San Francisco 49ers could sell Greenlaw on a 1-year incentive-based, meaning like he can trigger higher incentives. He can trigger higher pay based on availability and hitting milestones. You still give him a solid baseline pay, but you give him the ability to reach higher incentives to make it worth it for him, where it doesn't just completely hurt the 49ers. It protects both parties. And the theory is he has 1 year back in the system with Saleh in like a revamped defense, which I think the 49ers will absolutely try to do in regards to defensive line. We'll get to Talanoa in a second. But I think that's the sell, right? And then you take that year, and if that means you go and sign a big contract in free agency the following year, then so be it. We appreciate you, Dre, and we understand it's on to the next. But all things considered, I don't know if he will go for that, and he might just want to get that opportunity elsewhere. So we'll see. But let's get into the Talanoa Hufanga thing as well. So I hate to say it, but after talking to some people that are very plugged in and that I trust, the trend is, at least what I'm hearing, is that it does appear that Talanoa Hufanga will be potentially signing with another team. And the team that I think will be in the mix for Talanoa Hufanga will be the Denver Broncos. So will that happen? Will that come to fruition? I don't know. I'm not breaking any news here. I'm just what what I heard, after being on Radio Row, and having the opportunity to speak to some people who are very plugged in. That's just the sense I'm getting. So just like kind of what Matt Barrows is saying, the sense he is getting is that Dre and Hufanga will be leaving in free agency. I heard something very similar about Hufanga as well, and that was already kind of my gut feeling about the situation. I don't. I personally like Talanoa Hufanga. I know that he is a bit of a polarizing player amongst the fan base. I've always appreciated his game. He sold me from his rookie training camp. I could instantly see how sharp of a player he was. I love his energy and his vibe. I just love Talanoa. I think he's a phenomenal player. But I also understand if it is time for him to maybe go to a different team, or what have you. I would imagine he'll have a market, and the 49ers might sense that as well. And with how they hit on Malik Mustafa, they could go back to the well or potentially go to free agency. We'll see. But at the end of the day, if both of these guys are on other teams, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't love it, but I wouldn't be shocked. Putting my 49er fan hat on, my fan hat, I would love to have these two back. Putting my business hat on, pretending like I'm a GM, I understand where we're at with this situation. Like it makes sense to me from all parties, from player agent side, from general manager side, roster construction side. I get it. I get why this could be the end for these two. I'm I do, the fan side of me will want to keep hold of these players because I do believe in them and I do see their value and I want them to be a part of this team. But at the same time, I also understand it's a business and we are in business time and you have to shelve your fandom to be able to properly analyze and to be able to quantify the business side of football during the off season. So that's where I'm at. I'm in the business mode. I'm in, number crunching, roster construction mode. So I understand that if these guys aren't on the 49ers next year, like I said, I wouldn't be shocked. But I do have a lot of love for both of them. And if they do return, I would be over the moon. So we'll see what happens. But let me know what you think about what Matt Barrows said. And what do you think is going to be the outcome for both of them? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.